Autumn, 830 CE, the coast of Norway. The wind howls across the fjords, carrying the scent of pine, salt, and blood. Waves crash against the hulls of longships carved with snarling dragon heads. Guardians of oak and iron gliding through mist and moonlight. Beneath the gray sky, the sons of the north prepare to sail. Their leader, a jarl named Hroald, stands at the prow, his fur cloak whipping in the cold wind. Around him, warriors sharpen their sea axes and axes, the metal ringing like distant thunder. Behind them lies a land of hunger and frost ahead, the promise of silver and glory. East, Hroald says, his voice deep as the sea. The rivers lead to lands richer than any we've known. The Russ speak of cities of gold, ruled by men who pray to the sun and carry curved swords. We will see if their gods can save them. Laughter rises among the crew. They are the sea kings, raiders, and traders in equal measure, bound not by borders, but by courage. Their longships slice through the northern waters like blades, their sails catching the last light of the dying sun. Ravens circle overhead, an omen, perhaps, or a blessing from Odin himself. Days stretch into weeks. The sea gives way to rivers wide, coiling arteries cutting through endless forests of birch and pine. Smoke curls from Slavic villages along the banks. As the Norsemen demand tribute in iron and amber, they leave behind tales of ghostly ships that come with the morning fog and vanish by nightfall. But this time, their voyage does not end in plunder. Guided by traders of the Rus, the Vikings enter the Volga, a liquid road that will carry them farther than any northern blade has ever reached. Along its winding path, they encounter tribes who speak strange tongues, wearing robes instead of armor. They bring silver coins stamped with flowing Arabic script, their origins unknown to the Norse. One of Hroald's men turns the coin in his palm. Who marks their silver with lines like rivers? He asks. Merchants of the south, replies their guide. They call themselves the Abbasids, rulers of the desert. At night, beside their campfires, the Vikings drink and boast of conquest. They mock the merchants' tales of desert warriors clad in silken faith. Men who pray 5 times a day cannot wield a sword. One laughs. Their hands are too soft. Hroald listens but says nothing. His eyes drift toward the southern horizon where the stars shimmer above a sea of darkness, and something ancient waits beyond. The longships push onward through the Volga, their dragon heads glinting in dawn light. Behind them lies the cold realm of the sagas. Ahead lies a world of heat, sand, and steel, a world that will test the very soul of the North. The year is 832 CE. The longships drift down the Volga like dark spirits upon a mirror of gold. The forests thin, the air grows warmer, and the cries of ravens fade into the hum of desert winds. The Norsemen have reached the threshold between worlds, the borderlands, where the cold breath of the north meets the sunlit empire of Islam. At dawn, they dock at the market town of Bulgar, a place where languages mix like spices in a merchant's hand. Here, traders from every corner of the earth gather, Persians in silks, Khazars in leather, Arabs in flowing robes, and pale-haired men of the north, the Russ. Silver glints everywhere, stamped with curling Arabic calligraphy. Hroald and his men exchange furs, walrus ivory, and amber for these mysterious coins, dirhams, from a distant capital called Baghdad. To the Vikings, the silver is proof enough of the city's wealth. But in the quiet corners of taverns and trade tents, they hear stories of a realm unlike any they have known. They say their ruler, a Khazar merchant whispers, is the Caliph of all Islam, a man who commands cities of marble, gardens that bloom in the desert, and warriors who wield blades that bend but never break. The Vikings laugh. Steel is steel, says one, and no man, no matter how pious, can stand against a Norse axe. But not all are convinced. Among them is Bjorn, a younger warrior who is taken to learning the southern tongue. He listens to the merchants' tales of scholars who chart the stars, engineers who build machines that pour fire, and soldiers who fight in perfect rhythm, like the gears of the heavens themselves. The more he hears, the quieter he becomes. As they journey farther south, the landscape changes. Forests give way to wide steppes. The sky opens vast and merciless. The Norsemen see caravans stretching to the horizon, endless lines of camels, banners, and bells. The desert air is dry and heavy, tasting of salt and smoke. They cross paths with Khazar patrols who watch them warily. Through interpreters, the local rulers warn them not to trespass deeper into the Caliphate's lands. The Abbasid frontier is not like the lands you've raided, one commander says. Their soldiers do not fight for plunder, they fight for God. That night, around the fire, Hrold scoffs. Men who fight for gods die just the same, he says. His warriors nod, emboldened by drink and pride. But Bjorn remains silent. He watches the stars rise over the endless plain, the same stars that shine above Baghdad. And in that silence, he senses that they are sailing towards something greater than silver or glory, a test not just of strength, but of faith, culture, and will. As the sun rises, the Vikings push onward, their longships now navigating shallow waters and narrow bends. The heat grows unbearable. The air hums with unseen life. Ahead lies the Caspian frontier, and beyond it, the heart of the Abbasid Caliphate. Unseen from the riverbanks, riders in black watch them approach, the sun glinting on curved blades at their sides. The desert warriors are waiting. Continue summer, 833 CE along the Caspian frontier. The river narrows into a shallow bend, hemmed by dry reeds and glimmering heat. The Norse longships glide forward in eerie silence, their dragon heads reflecting the blazing sun. Hrold stands at the bow, sweat streaking his face beneath his iron helm. The air feels heavy, too still. Even the gulls have gone quiet. A sudden whistle cuts through the silence, then a scream. An arrow slams into a wooden shield. Another pierces the mast. From the dunes beyond the riverbank, dark shapes rise, riders cloaked in black and bronze, their faces veiled against the sun. They move with precision, their horses galloping in perfect formation. Arrows rain down like a storm. "Shields up!" Hrold roars. The Vikings huddle beneath overlapping planks of oak, the sound of shafts hammering against wood echoing across the water. The Norsemen fire back with bows of yew, but their shots fall short. The riders remain just beyond reach, circling, vanishing, reappearing. The Vikings beach their ships, axes drawn. Sand burns beneath their boots as they charge forward, roaring their war cries. For a moment, it feels like every battle before the chaos, the blood, the glory. But this enemy doesn't break. The Abbasid frontier guards hold their lines, shields locked, curved sabers flashing like sunlight itself. Bjorn swings his axe at a mounted soldier, only to meet steel that bends and slices back Damascus steel, shimmering with patterns like flowing water. The blade cuts through his shield as if it were straw. Around him, men fall, clutching wounds that bleed in the heat. These warriors fight differently, no wild fury, no reckless charge. Their movements are measured, disciplined. Their archers kneel and rise in waves. Their spears form walls that swallow momentum. The desert wind carries their chants verses of prayer and courage, as if each strike were guided by faith itself. Hroald sees his line falter. "Hold!" he shouts, but the sun blinds his eyes. The Abbasid riders pivot like a tide, cutting through the Viking flank. Within moments, the sands are littered with broken shields and the red gleam of blood soaking into dust. The longships burn where they were drawn ashore. Fire leaps from sail to mast, sending smoke twisting into the sky. The river that once carried them south now carries the ashes of their pride. Bjorn stumbles back toward the water, dragging a wounded comrade. Behind him, the clash of iron fades, replaced by the haunting cry of horns, the Abbasid signal of victory. As night falls, the surviving Norse hide among the reeds. In the distance, torchlight flickers from the enemy camp. The scent of incense and oil drifts through the air, foreign, solemn, unbroken. For the first time, Bjorn feels something colder than the northern sea, fear not of death, but of realization. They had mocked the desert warriors, but what they faced today was no tribe of soft men. These were soldiers of a civilization, disciplined, relentless, bound by something greater than blood or gold. In the dark, he whispers to the others, this was no battle, it was judgment. Night, 8:33, CE, the banks of the Caspian frontier. The battle is over. The fires of the longships smolder on the river's edge, their dragon heads charred and broken. Smoke coils into the starlit sky, drifting over the dunes like ghosts of the fallen. The desert is quiet now, too quiet for men who once filled the night with laughter and song. Bjorn wakes to the sound of footsteps. He opens his eyes to see the silhouettes of Abbasid soldiers moving among the wreckage. They speak softly in Arabic, voices low and even. Their armor gleams faintly chainmail polished, curved sabers sheathed. These are not men looting a battlefield. They move with a calm, almost reverent discipline. Do not kill them, one officer says. They fought bravely. His voice carries an authority that silences the others. The surviving Norsemen are bound and led to the Abbasid camp. The desert wind whips through the tents, carrying the faint scent of dates and smoke. Bjorn's wrists burn beneath the ropes, but his eyes wander. Everywhere he looks, there is order. Soldiers kneeling in prayer, scribes recording the names of the fallen, physicians tending wounds beneath lamplight. It is not the chaos of conquest. It is civilization at war. The commander approaches a tall man in black robes, his face half shaded by the light of the brazier. His name, they learn, is Emir Khalid ibn Zaid, guardian of the Abbasid frontier. He studies the captives with quiet curiosity. You came seeking gold, he says in a tongue close enough to the Norse trade language for them to understand. But what did you find? Hroald, bloodied and bound, raises his head. Men who fight like stone. The emir nods. Stone does not fight, he replies. Faith does. The words settle heavy in the air. The Vikings, for all their bravado, cannot answer. Around them, the desert hums with the sound of the muezzin, the call to prayer rising and falling like the tide. Men who had fought hours before now bow in unison, their foreheads touching the earth. Bjorn watches, stunned. He sees no triumph, no arrogance, only serenity. It is as if the same hands that wielded blades now reach for the divine. In that moment, the young Norse warrior understands. The strength of the Abbasids does not come from their numbers or their steel, but from something unseen, a discipline of spirit, a unity of purpose. Their steel is not forged by rage, but by faith and mastery. Later that night, as the prisoners sit beside the dying fire, Bjorn turns a fragment of a fallen sword in his hands, a piece of Damascus steel. The metal glints with rippling patterns like frozen smoke. It feels alive beneath his fingers. They fought as one, he murmurs, as if the fire itself obeyed them. Hroald looks toward the horizon, where the faint glow of the Abbasid city flickers beyond the dunes. Then we were fools, he says quietly. We mocked what we did not understand. For the first time in his life, the Jarl bows his head not in defeat, but in respect. As dawn breaks over the desert, the light spills across the sands, turning every grain to gold. The Norsemen, once proud sons of frost and thunder, kneel in silence, their laughter long gone, replaced by something deeper, humility. They have faced the Abbasid steel and survived, but they know the truth now. Not every victory is won with a sword. Spring, 834 CE. The Volga River, northward bound. Weeks have passed since the battle. The surviving Norseman drifts silently upon a single weathered longship, its sail torn, its hull blackened by fire. The wind carries the scent of the steppe dry and vast as the river bears them back toward the lands of mist and pine. No songs rise from the crew. No laughter echoes over the water. Only the creak of wood and the soft whisper of oars breaking the current. Among them sits Bjorn, staring at a curved fragment of steel he keeps wrapped in linen, a piece of a sword forged by the Abbasids. Its surface still gleams faintly, patterned like waves in moonlight. When they pass through Bulgar once more, the merchants gather to listen. The Norsemen who once boasted of their invincibility now speak differently. They tell of men who fought as one body, guided by faith, whose blades shone brighter than the northern frost. They tell of an empire where learning and warfare stood side by side, where scholars mapped the stars, and blacksmiths shaped the very soul of iron. The tales spread northward with the merchants and envoys. In the halls of the Rus, and later across the fjords of Norway, whispers begin of a southern people who do not conquer for plunder, but for purpose, who build cities of light in a sea of sand, whose forges birth steel that sings. Silver dirhams flow through the northern markets in greater numbers than ever before. Norse craftsmen begin to imitate the Abbasid patterns, their smiths puzzling over how metal could be folded to dance with strength and beauty. The river that once carried raiders now carries trade and respect. Some of the younger warriors never return to Scandinavia. They remain in the east, settling among the Khazars, the Volga Bulgars, or within Abbasid lands themselves. A few even take new names, new faiths. They exchange the god of thunder for the call of prayer, trading the roar of battle for the quiet rhythm of devotion. For those who do return, the memory never fades. Hrold, scarred and gray, tells his sons, "We thought we were wolves among sheep, but in the desert we met lions who prayed." Generations later, sagas will remember the voyage not as a conquest, but as an awakening, the day the Sea Kings met the desert sons, and learned that strength was more than fury. The Abbasid soldiers never record the battle. To them, it was a minor skirmish at the empire's edge. But in the north, the story becomes legend, the tale of men who mocked the desert, only to find that the sun itself had teeth. As the longship disappears into the mist, the voice of the narrator fades. From frost to flame, from iron to faith, two worlds met upon a river, and neither would ever be the same. The laughter of the Vikings died upon the sands, but in its place, a bridge was forged between steel and sand, between pride and understanding. The camera lingers on the fragment of Damascus steel in Bjorn's hand, glowing softly in the dawn light. The river carries them northward, but their hearts remain forever changed.